Hey guys, I knew I said that this month's video would be a Dragon Age 2 video, but NaNoWriMo has eaten my soul and I need to get a video out quick. So this month, we're doing a Slime Rancher challenge. It's really a simple one as we go through the game mostly. It's more like a quick trip down nostalgia lane. So let's see what we can do with these cute little slimes. Here are the rules. No collecting slime, plorts, or selling plorts until the slime's correlated gordo is popped. Exceptions are for those little statue things. Second rule is, I'm not sure how to explain it. Largos have to be, like, one of a kind. That rule is broken at the end because I realized we have an uneven amount of unique gordos. But for now, they all have to be unique. Third rule is, if I die, the challenge is over. I won't die, but it makes the stakes slightly just a bit higher. With that, let's start. Of course, our first target is the pink slime gordo. Gathering all the food is easy enough and the gordo is easy to find. So, for a while, most of our income comes from feeding the wild pink slimes and selling the insane amount of plorts you always find laying around from them. And with that, the challenge starts to amp up. I start breeding chickens because I feel like meat is one of the hardest food groups to just collect in the wild. And while those chickens start to multiply, we go around collecting fruit for the phosphor gordo. Which was a bit of a pain in the ass because I used a lot of the ripe wild fruit on the pink gordo. I also didn't know I needed 50 at this point, so it was a lot of back and forth. Before popping the phosphor gordo though, I do buy some stamina and health because I don't want to die, especially because I said that I wouldn't. Also, somehow I forgot to record myself popping the phosphor gordo. It doesn't matter too much because I don't have enough money yet to get the solar shield. So after the phosphor is popped, I use that mostly to collect plorts at night to make more money. After messing around, we eventually have enough chickens to go feed that tabby gordo. And we do. We get a teleporter to the overgrowth, which we don't have yet, so it's mostly useless. More importantly though, we have access to tabby plorts and slimes. And with that, our first largo is a pink tabby. And we already have a Stonehenge farm going. I almost called it a Stonehenge farm. That's not what we have. It's a Stony Hen, I think is what they're called, actually. I impulse unlocked the Indigo Quarry at some point, and coincidentally, I found the Rock Gordo. Which is perfect because I literally started an entire heartbeat farm because I was tired of carrying this one that I didn't want to lose. So gathering enough vegetables is fairly easy, and we pop the Rock Gordo with these. You know what that means? Rock Phosphor Largo. Oh, but before I do that, I need to afford the airnet. And let me just say, I didn't sell any of these pink plorts because I was trying to play the plort market. Jeez, it feels like I'm speaking Simlish. At some point, though, it just becomes useless when you realize, when you have so many plorts, it's just better to sell them all, no matter what the market says. So finally, after way too long of just trying to collect wild rock and tabby plorts, I have enough money to get the airnet and safely make the rock phosphor. What a pretty little guy. Though, admittedly, I feel like I've made all the ugliest largos in this game, in this particular challenge. But I don't know, I could always go back and just make a pretty little farm in my own time. After buying the jetpack, I decided it's finally time to go find the rad largo. And in my notes for the script, I apparently get lost trying to find the rad. Looking through the footage, yeah, I was lost as hell. The Indigo Quarry got me all sorts of mixed up this go-through. So after a moment to collect my bravery, we jump over this broken bridge, which was easier than I thought it would be. And we finally get to the rad gordo. Honestly, looking back at the footage, it's low-key infuriating that I didn't pick up that Oka Oka, but whatever. I was probably making bad decisions because I was under intense radiation poisoning. We unlock the way to the moss blanket and go to unlock the honey gordo. Getting enough fruit was also a pain because I had the max amount of pogo fruits I could carry, but the Q-berry and the mint mango trees aren't as plentiful / don't drop as much, so I was just going in circles vacuuming up as much as possible. But we do get enough for the gordo, and with that, honey slimes are on the market. I take a honey plort and we go to combine it with the rad gordo. And let me just make a little retrospective note here. This slime was one of the most pleasant creatures I've ever created. Honey slimes are just so easy. I unironically go, no, bad, every single time I catch a slime out of its pen. Like, you can ask my family, I was genuinely distressed when I found this rad honey outside of its pen. Also, due to the fact that its favorite color is green, it's sweet like honey, and it'll probably kill you if you stand too close for too long, I decided to name this one Rem after my little sister. To get to the crystal gordo, I have to pop the second rock gordo. Again, the heartbeat farm makes this part easy. I think the crystal gordo was one of the few where I didn't explicitly rely on the wiki. I teleported to this new place and I genuinely just explored, admired the fire flowers, looked for more carrots, etc. It was kind of nice, especially since I didn't have time to do this with the whole game. Well, that's what Slime Rancher 2 is for, I suppose. The next gordo is a hunter. My soul kind of dies when I think about the fact that my next largo is going to have to be a hunter crystal, which effectively makes it so that half the time the pretty colors of the crystal are just invisible. Speaking of invisible, it took me an embarrassingly long time to find the hunter because of invisibility. But we do find it, and yes, unfortunately, the next Largo is a Crystal Hunter. I do some slime care and buy a water tank because tar have been pissing me off all game. They're not really a threat, but if you leave them, they ruin the land, and they just make it all so ugly. And now we unlock the ancient ruins, and man, let me tell you, I am an idiot. This place is so confusing, and I have so much footage of just me being lost and confused. But one of the reasons for moving on wasn't even for the Quantum Gordo, but for the Boom Gordo, which, yeah, you unlock in the, ancient ruins. Luckily, in all my confused wandering, I managed to breed and collect a ton of briar hens. So we pop the Boom Gordo, and despite the wiki warning me in no uncertain terms that if I stand too close, I will die, I proceed to watch from way too close a distance as the slime equivalent to a nuke explodes. I'm left with 68 health, but otherwise I'm fine. Just had to be careful when collecting the plorts. Speaking of collecting plorts, for some reason I thought I was just going to combine booms with crystals, which is what I did in my Slime Rancher 2 farm, so I didn't collect the slime itself. Then I got to the ranch and I realized I had nothing to feed the plorts to. So I basically just tossed them. I think I sold it by accident off camera. Luckily the boom plorts are easy to grab pretty early in the indigo quarry. So that means all I have left to do is make my way to the ancient ruins and wait 3 years for the lemons to be ready. Yeah, that was agonizing. Then I kept getting lost and... okay, listen, it was a whole thing. What matters is that I did make it to the Gordo and I did manage to pop it. Don't even get me started on how lost I was trying to find the damn thing. This time I was smart and actually kept some of the phase lemons to plant, so that our quantums don't starve while I wait 3 days for Schrodinger's lemons to grow. The quantums live in a temporary corral next to our crystal hunters while I collect some plorts and make money to buy the overgrowth. And now we're finally coming up on the last Gordos. I think at this point there's not much challenge anymore. This is almost just like us going through the game together. But at the end of the day, isn't that what makes challenge videos so fun? Taking the audience along while we go through a whole game together. Sure, most people focus on the challenge itself, but maybe the real challenge was the friendships we made along the way. Or maybe it was suppressing the urge to quit and play Slime Rancher 2 instead. Also, huge shout out to this moment right here where I nearly fall off the ledge because my mouse hand was shoveling popcorn in my mouth, and I didn't realize how thin the bridge got and that there wasn't any ground beneath me. It was a funny moment then, but looking at it retrospectively, I almost ended the whole challenge because I was picking out on popcorn. For some reason, I don't remember why, but for some reason I had it in my head that Tangle had to be in the overgrowth, and that my dervish had to be in the cave edition. I don't remember the name of it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We still do have to pop the dervish and the mosaic gordos. I grew my silver parsnips in the overgrowth, which may have been why I wanted the tangles in there to mix with the mosaics. Especially since the dervish were the last ones I unlocked. Also, yeah, I literally did just grab this dervish and relocate it somewhere else. Listen, it was caught in the firestorm and it looked like it needed help, okay? I felt bad. So after a bit of confusion and parkour, I finally make it to the mosaic and we feed it parsnips. I collect the plort and we're off to make our second to last Largo. And I gotta say, the mosaic tangle has to be my favorite child. Though I guess any mix with the mosaic would be pretty, but man, it is breathtaking. With that, I grab my prickly pears and we go to our last Gordo. It's at this point I realize I'm stupid and I probably should have just not made a pink Largo. That last plort I was counting on, I'm pretty sure is post-game content. So I decided to bend the rules a little bit here. Because I popped 2 rock Gordos, I decided to mix our dervish with rock. It's a little lackluster, but it's there, our last Largo. I go ahead and finish the game. Using a guide because it's been a while since I completed the game, I go around and activate all the fountains. I go back to the end of the desert because, and don't ask me why, I had a distinct memory of walking through an end portal and that ending the game. I literally had to look up why my portal wasn't working only to realize I was supposed to just go home. And with that, we go home and receive our last 2 letters. Casey the punk rocker then sings us a country song and the game is over. Or, well, the game never ends, but the challenge is over. I know this one was a bit easy, boring compared to my other ones, but NaNoWriMo has been kicking my ass, and there's no way I'm going to get Dragon Age 2 video out in time, especially with my work hours picking up thanks to the holiday season. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video for what it was, a trip down memory lane. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment down below if you have anything to say. I love you guys, happy Thanksgiving, and take care of each other and be kind to yourselves.